Chapter 3. When Bruce woke up the next morning, he had a strange feeling that something was wrong. He sat up and looked around. At first, everything was normal. Annie was still snoozing in her bed across from him. But something was missing. Didn't hit him. Bruce sprang out of bed. "Andy! Wake up!" he said. "Friday is gone!" The window was closed, so the siblings knew one place where Friday could have wandered off to. The kitchen, which was Lois's domain. Lois was busy in the kitchen, banging pots and pans, figuring out what to cook. She had not noticed Friday nosing around. She managed to grab a bit of sausage and a piece of bread. Lois's back was turned. Annie and Bruce rushed in. Just as Friday hopped down the counter, Lois was locking up her food cabinets, much to her frustration. The kids always seemed to be hungry and expecting to be fed. She couldn't even have them find her food that was actually edible. "Good morning!" Annie yelled, hoping to distract Lois. "Stop shouting!" Lois yelled back. "What are you doing up so early?" "We thought we'd get some breakfast," Bruce replied a little too cheerfully. He had seen Friday's tail wag from beneath the kitchen table. "Okay, yeah, calm down, will ya? The cereal's in the unlocked cupboard. You guys know to get it." "Oh," Annie said, "but that egg-like thing you're making looks so good." Annie "Too bad," Lois replied. "I am not your servant. I am obliged to give you 2 meals a day. That's lunch and dinner. You know the deal." At that moment, Friday decided to hop onto a chair and using it to reach the counter and the top of the fridge. Bruce watched in terror as the little dog knocked a bottle off the fridge. It almost would have hit Lois. "Friday!" he shouted. "What?" Lois replied. "I said, what's the day after Thursday?" Annie said, thinking quickly. "Friday," Bruce repeated. "Yeah, that's it. Thank you," Annie said. "What's the matter with you two?" Lois asked. The kids were definitely touching her patience. "Where does it decided to be here?" Bruce answered as Friday continued to sniff around the kitchen until he found a plate of bacon. Jackpot! It took some effort, but Andy managed to get Lois' attention by telling her a made-up story. Bruce quietly wrangled Friday away from the food. He scooped up the dog in his arms and held him behind his back as they made their way out. The two were almost home free when Lois shouted, "Wait! What are you up to, mister?" "I'm just heading to my room," Bruce replied nervously. "I'll come with you," Annie said. The two of them stumbled right out of the kitchen. Lois shook her head. She sure that the kids were up to no good, but she had no time to find out what that was right now. As soon as they reached their rooms, Bruce and Annie let Friday onto the fire escape out their window. It was too risky to keep him outside, especially if there was food around. Friday paddled down the fire escape and jumped down to the sidewalk. He sniffed once, twice, then found the scent he was looking for. It didn't matter because he just fell up on the bacon in Lois's kitchen. There was always room in his stomach for more. Trotting down the street, Friday spotted a shiny cart. That was the source of the mouth-watering smell. The cart moved down, and Friday eagerly followed. Friday stepped up his pace as he let the delicious scent guide him, right to a large burly man who stood over, holding the dog catching loop. You make it too easy, the man said with a smirk. Later that day, Andy and Bruce were out looking for Friday. It was not like him to miss a meal. Bruce cranked the handle on one of his favorite inventions, a can opener to a amplifying horn from an old-fashioned record player. The whole thing was hooked up to a small electric motor with a hand crank. Each time Bruce turned the crank, the sound of the can opener was broadcast through the neighborhood. It was Bruce's version of a dinner bell. Maybe Friday can't hear it, Annie said. It's mealtime. He could probably hear it on the moon, Bruce retorted. Their search led them past an old brownstone with a fence and yard, where a big, mean-looking dog raced towards the fence. He wore a spike collar attached to a thick chain. He was startled when Annie and Bruce jumped back. But just as the dog reached the fence, he flopped down in front of them and panted happily. "Aww, he's just lonely," Bruce said, reaching out a hand for the dog to sniff. "Bruce, don't!" Annie mourned, but it was too late. The dog took one sniff and he immediately liked Bruce. He licked the boy's fingers when an old man came out of the brownstone. "Get away from him!" the man shouted angrily. "Sorry," Bruce apologized as he and Annie quickly stood back from him. The man started scolding his dog. "You are worthless! Bark at them, you mutt! You're supposed to be guarding me!" He jerked roughly at the dog's chain and slapped him on the head. "Your dog needs water," Bruce said, but the man ignored him. "Come on, Bruce," Annie said, pulling him away from the fence. Annie and Bruce continued searching for Friday. When another hour passed, they were beginning to get worried. They searched all over the neighborhood, and there was still no sign of Friday. It was time to start asking around. At the end of the block, they came to a small grocery store called Camwell's Market. A teenage boy was hosing down the sidewalk. "Hey, excuse me," Annie said. "Have you seen a cute little dog?" The boy turned and looked at Annie. "No, but I see a fox." He giggled. "The name's Mark." Annie rolled his eyes. "He's a white dog with brown ears, she said, ignoring his comment. "Wait, something's coming on to me," Bruce said. "Little dog, white with brown ears." Before Annie could respond, the store owner, Mrs. Camwell, stepped out of the store, and she didn't look like a nice lady. "You, keep your dog on a leash," she said to Annie. "And you, hose down the muck," she yelled at Mark. Annie didn't need to tell him twice. She and Bruce hurried as Mark called out, "Hey, you should probably give me your phone number in case I see your dog." Annie didn't bother to turn around. "Or just come back here and find me. I like your style," Mark added. But late afternoon, Annie and Bruce were beginning to panic. They went back to the apartment to make flyers with Friday's photo. They were scurrying around the neighborhood in earnest. They stopped at Primary Paws, a pet store and a grooming salon. The store was busy. There was a small crowd gathered around a table of adorable puppies. Bruce handed out flyers when Annie spotted someone who worked there. She spotted a girl about her age, wearing an apron and a name tag that read Heather. Heather just finished grooming a cute Pomeranian and was carrying him to the back of the store. Heather loved her job, loved every animal, and her coworker Dave. Hi! Nice haircut, Dave said as Heather passed by. Thanks, Dave. I was hoping you noticed, Heather replied, blushing. Actually, I meant that adorable Pomeranian, he teased. He did notice Andy and Bruce at the front of the store. Can I help you? He asked. Yes, Andy said as she placed the flyer in Dave's hand. We're looking for our dog Friday. I suppose you haven't seen them. Friday? He read. That's an interesting name. Where did it come from? It's a long story, Annie chuckled. Got it. Hey, I don't think I ever seen you before. Do you go to Thomas Jefferson? Dave asked. I will this fall. My family and I moved here a couple months ago, Annie said, forcing a smile to cover the reality of her life. So how do you like it so far? Dave asked. What's not to like? Bruce cut his sister a look. This was not a getting to know you time. Friday was missing! We should get going, Annie replied quickly. Okay, good luck finding your dog, Dave replied, unaware that Heather had been watching him the whole time. Your tongue's hanging out, boy, Heather said. Dave jumped. Busted, he thought to himself. Oh, actually I meant the Pomeranian, she said slyly.